Well, let's see if we can get started working on this arc from the floor plan. Looking at the arc, you'll notice that this is a varying arc. It's fairly sharp here. It flattens out in this direction over quite a long period. Here it shortens out over a little shorter period. If I take the arc tool, and for now I'm going to start from the two extremes of this shape, you'll see when I pull the arc out that there's just no way it's going to make the shape we want. So then I might come back and try a little shorter distance and see how that works. That's better, but I still think I would like this center part over just a little bit more. So I'm just going to hit the escape key, which will release what I was trying, and move it over to the next spot. Okay, I think maybe even a little bit more yet. See how where the center line comes up, and it's pretty close, but I'd like it just maybe a little different, so I'll just move my points a touch more. Yeah, that's much better. I like that. So I'll go ahead and set the arc. Then from this side, I'll click here and draw it out to this point. Now, what's interesting, you see now since I've connected it to an existing arc, my line that's shown here is blue. When I try to connect this over here, it's jumping too far. I can't get it to the spot I want. So what needs to happen is I need to move in, and once I move in, look, I can move this in a much smaller proportion and get it to the place that I want. Since our arc line is already blue, I'll just double click, and that lays down the line. Okay, on this side we'll get the blue line again, and I can almost, as I just pull it out, just kind of watch how that line changes, or the arc changes, and see if it's going to give me something close to what I want. And at this point it doesn't, so I think I'm going to have to move in closer again till I find the arc that I like. And I think what I'm going to have to do on this one is set my point and then make this go ever so slightly the other way. You know what? I don't like it. So I'm going to get, I think this one here is just a little off, so I'm going to go all the way back and try again. The point I'm trying to make is when you're making compound arcs, you may have to work at it several times until you get exactly the shape that you want or feel comfortable with. It isn't going to just happen the first time. It's a kind of a hunt and pick process. And there, now see that, I like that blue line there, so I'm going to put that one in. Let's see what I get over here now. Okay, I like better what that's doing this time. And all I did was this point that's right here, I just moved it up a little bit, and it's making all the difference. I can keep coming out. It seems to be doing pretty well. But you notice if I go all the way to where I want, in here it's moving up too far, so I'm probably going to make the line right about there. Double click, and the last part of this I'm sure can be a straight line, so I'm just going to use the pencil tool or click on the L for pencil line, click it in. Now what I want to do in the last thing is take that all the way across to this side and fill it in. So there is the template that I'm going to be using to fill in and make the rest of the curve shape for the front of the trailer. I'm going to go back up to hide, down to unhide, click last, and bring my trailer section back that I'm working with. Okay, now what I need to do is I'm going to take this and move it up to this one, because this is the one that I have the right thickness in the front wall. So I'll just double click, go up to edit, cut, edit, paste. Going to bring it down here. Now the other thing I'm going to do is for right now I'm going to make it a component, and I'm just going to say front shell, or let's see, end cap pattern front, and create. Now the reason for my wanting to make it a component is because if I just take and click on M for the move tool, and if it wasn't a pattern, it's going to snap to this other shape, and I may have a real hard time of getting it to fit right where I want to. Where you can see I can bring this over and get that to snap there, and then I can slide along this line and move it up right to where I want it to get a nice fit on this end, so that I can see that it's just touching here, just touching where I want here. And actually, because I made it all the way back before, you see it's a little too long now, but that's okay. I'll click enough to highlight the whole thing and come back at this point, draw a straight line across here. Didn't want to take, let's try again. Okay, what it's doing right now is, because this line's a hair underneath there, it's wanting to go to the shell part here rather than the floor part. So what I'm going to do is hook my move tool, move this over a little bit this time, and then come in here and use the line tool to cut that bit off. There you go. You can see it's separated, so we know we did it successfully. So that's kind of a good point to see too, that sometimes if things are overlapping or too close to each other, you're not going to be able to get them to move the way you want. I can see this is not set at my favorite style setting, so I'm going to take a moment and reset styles. Alright, this has already been clicked on a couple of times, so it's gone beyond the component stage, and I want to work on the component stage, so I'm going to have to come over here to the gray area and click to deselect everything and then come back and get it. And I can see that's touching there pretty much the way I want it. So now I'll slide that over and just get it to touch. There we go. Okay. Now, we want this shape to follow this inner shape, because I'm working on the inner shell. So what I need to do is come back in here and highlight, double click and highlight each section. Remember, you have to hold on to Shift to go down and highlight every single part of a line. And I'll make sure I get this little piece right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of double check to make sure that I did get everything highlighted. Looks like it is. So if I were to take the follow tool and go down here right now, it doesn't want to pick that up. Okay, the reason it doesn't want to pick it up is it's a component, and the part we want to work with is actually on a different level than the line. So what we need to go back is pick select, click on the gray to get all the way out. I'm going to click on this, I'm going to double click till I get the whole image, and then I'm going to click edit, cut. So I've removed it. Okay, I need to back out, because you can see that by the color of this I'm not in the outside mode. I'm going to click on this now to find the component, and I'm going to double click till I get clear down to the line stage that I want to be at. Now I'm going to go back up and say edit, paste in place, and that should now put that on the same level as where I want the line. So now I'm going to go back and highlight my line, hold down the Shift key,